There's a nice bug behind me, man. Really nice. Hi, Twinkie! And welcome back. I know I got a lot of requests on actually doing the porting on those end casks. I swear to God, I've looked and looked for them, and I can't find them. I had another set, and I wasn't able to find them. I don't know where they are. I just don't know where they are. I'll show you very small clips of me searching for them, but wasn't able to do it. So yeah, that's the case. Yeah, sorry about that. I tried. I'll find them eventually. I just don't know where they are. Eventually, the knowing will come. Yeah, so I'm looking for the end cast so that I can show you guys the slingshot porting that we did on the end cast to go here. But my problem is this. Everything that was in the garage is in here. That's my problem. And I know they're here somewhere. They might be in that box or somewhere over here. Okay, I thought they were in there. They're not. Oh my God. Uh-huh. Oil cooler. Oil cooler for a type 1. K&N for the GTI, the blue one, MK2. My God, what is in here? Fuel pump, intake. More turbo stuff. That is an intake from a Scirocco. That's so you can turbo the GTI, the blue one. Yeah, those things are like an arm and a leg if you want to get one of those. No, it's not for sale. Totally struck out. Nothing in there that I need. Okay, so I come to the conclusion they're not here. I have no idea what I do with them. Here's the funny thing. I grabbed them about half a year ago, and I said, I'm going to put them right here so that I don't lose them. Where here is, I do not remember. Maybe up there? I got to check that. Okay, nothing but racing crap here. MSD, a lot of cams, what rear brake. Electronics crap, a lot of resistors, transistors, diodes, xenodiodes, capacitors, yada yada yada. Definitely not there. It's nothing but paint and aerosol cans of whatever you can imagine, I guess. Oh yeah, and polishing compounds up there. See, that's what happens when you clean your garage. You lose track of everything. And this is all GTI though. Yeah. This is all GTI. So as you saw, I tried. Okay, it just didn't happen. So I'm gonna do actually a video on IDFs. I know, crappy IDFs. These Chinese IDFs, they need a lot of work for them to work correctly. We'll go over a little bit on it, and I'll show you another tech tip. See, what I'm trying to do right now on these IDFs, these are 44 IDFs. I'm running 32 millimeter Venturis. Yeah, because they come with a 36, which is too big for this kind of motor. It's too tiny for that, 36 millimeters. So I went 32s, and I'm pretty sure I'm running 52 millimeter idles, and I believe I'm running 124s on the main jets. Those are custom sizes, okay? You can't get them that size. You have to drill them yourself. And I think the air corrector is at 180. Okay. Anyways, that's the stats on this 2056cc motor Type 4 engine. Okay. The cam is bone stock, so it has power, but it doesn't have that kind of power. Okay. So what I'm going to be doing is actually I'm going to be opening the carburetors because I need to adjust the there's a bleed valve inside that we're going to be modifying. If you guys are running a single carburetor right here, you actually want to completely solder that thing, or you could get them at CB Performance that it's just a plug. You remove yours and you just put a plug, and that'll take the hesitation out of your IDF, your single IDF. Yeah, because they're very notoriously for having hesitations. These 44 IDF twins, you don't need to do that. However, I've noticed that it still has a slight hesitation. Like if I'm coming down the freeway, like just dropping down gears like crazy, and I'm getting to the light, to make a turn, it turns green before I stop, and as soon as I give it gas, it actually just there's like a I give it gas and there's nothing there. There's like a stumble, and then it goes, And I am sick of that. I just can't stand that. But if I drive it normally, there is no hesitation. Okay, there is no hesitation whatsoever. At first I thought it was probably timing related. So, I messed around with my CB Performance mapping, and I corrected anything that I thought might be causing it, and no, it's still there. It's still there. It's like, it's just, you give it a light stab, like, you're not going wide open. You're just like giving it like an eighth of a throttle, and you have a nasty hesitation. That's actually being caused by that valve. So what I'm going to actually do, yes, I'm going to experiment. It's an experiment. I'm going to go completely actually plug it up, just like the single one. Okay, I'm going to do that to these duals and see if that cures that hiccup problem that it drives me nuts. Okay, it drives me nuts. So I've already removed everything from here, so I can take the top off. See? Okay, I did the same thing over there. Oops. That guy. So I'm just going to try to remove it with my hand. I disconnected the line. I actually started the pump, fuel pump, so that it fills my bowls, because I want to see the level again. Check it again, because apparently that carburetor over there, it keeps changing in the level. It's like the float is doing funky shit. So I might actually replace that float today, since I've got other carburetors that I can steal it from. So, okay. So I'm gonna try without ripping the gasket to pieces. Yeah, it was the paper. It's getting hung up. Okay. All right. Look at that. I actually ripped it. I got more. It's no big deal. So I just want to see where my fuel level is. And, okay. It's exactly where I left it, so I'm going to leave it that way. Let's see what the other one measures. Okay, I have it off. And I can tell that this one has completely changed. Again, now it's higher again. It's oh my God, that is a lot. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and change the whole top. This guy. this guy because it's too much fuel. All right, so just a couple of problems that, you know, China IDFs. I mean, you got to work with them, whatever. So I'm gonna go ahead and start removing this guy right here. Okay, so we have the two bypass fuel valves for the bowl, which is that one down there. This is my spare carburetors. This is the one that has developed a fuel bowl leak. It leaks down here somehow. I thought it was the pump itself, the diaphragm. It's not. And actually, this one belongs to a different, carburetor. And it still keeps doing it. So I think the casting has a crack in the, where the, what do you call it? The circuits are underneath the bowl. Yeah, it has a crack or something. So it leaks fuel. So I'm not using this. I'm using this for parts. But yeah, okay, I got the two ones that I was running in my carburetors and my Porsche engine, Green Bug. And basically what I was doing is I was just messing with these to see the squirt, you know, the squirt when I give it throttle, you know, on the thing. When I give it throttle like that, okay, I want to see it instantaneously squirt. Even if I just crack it, you know, I do something like that, I want to see fuel coming out of there, okay? Like when I do something like this, I want to see fuel coming out, okay? Now, I just added some fuel. This is obviously it's green, but it's because it's for my two-stroke engines. And I just, whatever. It's green because it's got oil. Anyways, so I've already kind of sort of bled this one. Okay, when there's no fuel in here, the circuits have to fill up with fuel. It takes a while to bleed out the air, so you have to, like, you know, to bleed out all the air. Anyways, so now when I barely crack it open, you should see fuel. See, just barely cracking it open. See, get fuel. With these that are not soldered shut, there's a delay, like a very long delay, and there's your stumble. These are actually very easy to modify. I'll show you how to modify them. They sell these in the European market, the IDF market. They have these. You can go as low as 30s. These are 55s, I believe. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I spin it. I should be able to get to 55. Yeah, there it is. 55, see? They're 55s. Anyways, you can go as low as 30s. And the delay would be shorter. But I want instantaneous. So basically, you can buy them completely plugged. And the fuel delivery will be instantaneous. Like, as soon as you just barely crack it, you'll get fuel squirting. Versus you crack it, nothing happens. I mean this guy, look. It's instantaneous. Okay, with this, I'll go like this, nothing will happen. And then right about there, if I keep going, I'll get fuel. Okay, with this one. I've already adjusted this outward as much as I can. And with this, it does not change because it has a bleed. So once you build enough pressure in the circuit, this thing will plug up. Okay, will plug up, and then you'll get your squirt. Okay, so I'm gonna try to show you with the regular valve. It's got the non-soldered one right now. I'm gonna crack it and see what happens. I get a dribble. Nothing. Okay. Yeah. After I go past a certain, like, I might get a dribble. No, nothing. Okay, now we got something. Nothing. Okay. Okay. Yeah. After you go a certain past location, you'll start getting fuel. But that little empty spot will give you that stumble. And it's not a major stumble, okay? It's not like whoa, you know, it's not like that. It's just, you know, it's just a stumble that it's there. I can sense it. I can feel it, you know. and I don't like it. So I just want to get completely zero stumbles whatsoever. I just want to go, you know, if I just do like a stab, but not giving it a lot of throttle. I want it to go, wow, you know, instead of, you know, instead of doing that. Okay, one more time. Now I have the soldered one again. And look, I'm barely gonna crack it. See, barely cracking it. See that? Barely moving my throttle. And I got fuel. See? It's instantaneous, okay? Versus a delay. This is a delay valve. They should just call it a delay pump valve. That's what it is, okay? The 55 that's stamped on here doesn't really mean it's a 55 from here. It means that inside it has the equivalent of a 55 jet that the ball bearing, in other words, you know, the ball bearing is only so big, right? Okay. But the surface of this brass, I'm going to call it jet, whatever, is actually bigger, right? So the ball versus the diameter of this thing, the inner part, equals 55, okay? So it's not what you think. You're thinking this is 55. No, this is actually a 200. This is a 200 drill, and it goes in perfectly, good and tight. But it's not that. It's actually how much the ball bearing that's inside, and then the actual cylinder, how big it is. The gap equals 55. Okay, hope that cleared up some confusion there. Anyways, so what I'm going to be using is a socket. I'm using a, let me see, 732s. The ones that they have the star stipe. That way it can fit in there. Okay. So what I'm going to do, you don't have to do this actually. You don't have to do this, but I want these to be reversible. So if I don't like it, I can go back. So this is why I'm doing this. Okay. Putting the washer in there because I just don't want to damage the edges. So the washer helps it. So I'm going to put this on like yay, like that. And then I'm going to grab a little hammer and I'm going to punch out the little retainer and the ball bearing. Okay, boom, just done. Oh, let me see if I, okay. There's the little ball bearing. That's the retainer, okay? The other ball bearings were actually more magnetized than this one. This one is partially magnetizing. That is weird. So anyways, just keep it there so it doesn't go anywhere and then you're like, uh-oh. Although you're going to be soldering a shot, it doesn't matter. But if you want to go back to the way it was, there you go. Okay, remember, the 55s are actually 200s from here. So you could just re-drill it 200 and you're done. So what I'm doing is, again, a punch, putting it on top of that. But I'm going to grab a drill. Where's the 200? Right here. I'm actually going to shave it on the edge so that the solder actually clings to the edge. Okay? Otherwise the solder's not going to stick. Okay, you need a clean surface. And I'm just doing this so that the surface gets freshened up. It looks nice and brassy, you know what I mean? Yes, you do. Put it back in there. I need to get my flux. Okay. Flux. I'm actually going to use the same tip. Just going to get it in there. Okay. All right, we got flux. I'm going to go ahead and start it up. Doesn't need to be on high, okay? Just barely on. Let me grab my solder. My awesome Kester solder. Good for everything. Awesome. I'll need to cut that off. All right. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's do this, man. See if I can get a close-up of this. I don't know if it's gonna go to shit. Sorry. That's as best as my camera is gonna let me do it. Just whatever. So, what you do is just you heat the part, you spin it. You don't want to heat the same part or you'll melt it. Yeah, don't heat it in the same place. It'll melt. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I go in. So this is the important part. Because you want the screwdriver slot, you just put it on when it's hot. And once it's cool, you can take your screwdriver off and you'll still have that screwdriver slot. Yeah, there it is. See? Okay, now she's loose. Okay. So if you want, you can just grab your little ball bearing, throw it back in there, and also install the little locking thing, which I have no idea where I put it. Okay, so it took me a while to find it. Yeah, very easy to lose. Anyways, here's a little brass piece. You're gonna slide it back in. You'll know what way it goes because one side you can tell the ball bearing's been hitting right there, so it's kind of shiny. The other side, it's kind of dull. So, yeah. You'll know right away because it'll go really easy. Like that. You just push it in with your nail. Flush. Okay. Okay, that's pretty much it. I'm going to do the exact same thing to this one. Let me see if I can just push it out without hitting it with a hammer. Yeah. See. Got the bearing, the ball bearing, and the little doodad lock-in brass thing. Okay. So again, oh, see this one? That one's very magnetic. The other one was like very lightly magnetic. See that? I don't know what's going on. Quality control. Quality control. That's all I got to say about that. Anyways, you already saw how I soldered one. The other one's just a repeat. I'm going to go ahead and do this to this and then put it all back together. And we'll go from there. All right, so I have everything back together. Everything is somewhat calibrated. I'm going to check it right now with the airflow meter. If I know where it is. This guy. So we'll see what happens. There you go. Okay, we're going to start the car right now. Hopefully it will not catch fire. I do have an extinguisher though. Yeah, I actually carried an extinguisher inside the trunk in case this thing ever catches fire. Because, you know, we are notorious for catching fire. Us people with bugs. I heard it backfire. Like 475. 475. They're identical. I'm not gonna mess with them, so I got lucky. Okay, so I'm gonna go for a drive and see how it drives, see if it backfires or bucks like a bucking bronco, or see what it does. Okay, first impression. There's a world of difference. Like, the engine is cold, and I'm just giving it little throttle, and it's a wonderful response. There's no more like, and because it would do that when the engine was cold. Okay, that seems to be taken care of. Interesting. Yep.
instant throttle response. Oh, there was no stumble. It usually has like a little and then it goes. Yeah, it was smooth. Wow. I'm not singing victory right now. I gotta drive it for a couple of days and then I'll have a pretty good idea. Okay, check this out. Like, I'm gonna give it gas and it's gonna go lean. You see that? Okay, all right, so this is where we're at. Basically, been driving it for a couple of days. This is what I discovered by soldering those plugs, those bypass valves. The car is almost impossible to start when the engine is cold. Like, if the engine is slightly warm in the 70s, 80s, it'll start right up. But if the engine is cold, like 30s, 40s, 50s, even 60s, oh my God, it's so difficult to start. I mean, like, I could be cranking and cranking and pumping and pumping, and I'm just getting like a sputter. But once it starts, and it runs great. Well, sort of. So what was happening is when I hit the gas, that thing would go super lean and it would introduce a bog, meaning my little jets are not pumping enough fuel to accelerate. So I went ahead and increased the size of the jets, the idles, from 52s to 55s, and that took care of the idle, or the bog, I'm sorry. That took care of the bog. But it did not take care of trying to start it. It just doesn't want to start when it's cold. But check it out. I'm gonna floor it. And there she goes. See, it goes a little lean, but not as much. But that's only because I went up on the idle size. Went to 55s instead of 52s. So, like I said, this is just an experiment. I cannot trade off my cold starting capabilities for plugging those jets and getting rid of that little stumble. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go back to the way it was, to turn my little bypass valves back to stock, and I'm actually gonna run the 55. Hopefully the 55, it has enough fuel, at the low end to make the stumble disappear. All right, it's time to go home. It's actually 69 right now. 69 degrees outside. So let's see if the car starts. It's been sitting for about 10 hours. Let's see. I always give it 3 pumps and it always starts. Come on. Oh, it didn't start. Pump, 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 pump. Do it again. Come on. Ah, there we go. Oh, I had to pump it a lot. So, yeah, if you guys want to do this mod on a single carburetor for the center mount, I would say you're gonna have to increase your idle jets, and yeah, and that should take care of the bogging. When you go wide open, the AFR, that guy goes if you don't increase the size of your idle jet. It doesn't seem to have lost any power. It pulls just as good as with the regular valve. Once I increased the idle jet one size, so I went from 52s to 55s on this 2-liter engine, and it runs normal. It's just really difficult to start really difficult to start. So I don't think I want to trade it off. You know, I'd rather have a little stumble than having difficulty to start when when the ambient temperature is cold. So I'm gonna go back to the way it was.
And this is pretty much the end of the video. So this experiment has to come to an end. And we're going to do a quick summary though. Okay, so this is the only way this pump gets any fuel, okay, which is basically the hole right there. There is no other circuit that will feed it, okay? So from here, the fuel gets pumped, pushed into these orifices. This is right there. And over here, basically they go and into your squirters, okay, and into your squirters. Okay, now, how does this get any fuel? If you guys were paying attention, go, wait a minute, how did he soldered it? How is he getting any fuel? Okay, it turns out that this thing, as you can see, has a tiny little hole right there. It looks like it's like a 0.10 millimeter hole. Okay, that's how this thing gets fuel. The problem with that size hole is that basically this thing is starving for fuel. When you are doing this, like super wide open throttles, like over and over, okay, this thing becomes starved of fuel. Thus, you are not injecting a lot of fuel, introducing a bog or a stumble. Okay, that's the problem with soldering. So that means that the ones that are zero at CB Performance and in Europe they sell them, the zero ones for the center mounts, they're not really zeros. Okay. They actually have a drilling, or the ball bearing is such that it is almost a zero. But when it backs down, when you pressurize the circuit, basically the ball bearing goes up and it closes up, right? But I think the gap between the ball bearing and the cylinder is probably zero. So it lets in fuel, and then when you press on it, it very quickly closes. In other words, the delay is zero, almost zero, or it has a tiny little drilling that does that. Anyways, but it's not a complete zero, okay? It can't be. Otherwise, this pump will never get any fuel. And you would starve your engine. It just run like crap. Okay, that's what I learned, okay? Okie dokie. So now you guys know if you guys ever want to do this experiment, but it was just to, what do you call it? I don't know, okay, now you know what will happen. Okay, it does squirt right away, but it runs out of fuel right here, begins to starve. If you're doing a lot of of this, it'll starve. Okay, so I went to Jimmy, which is a Weber. I guess he's sponsored by Weber because he's got the Weber emblems there on his webpage. I'll put a link down there on his article so you guys can go read it. And basically what I learned there is what he's saying is that we are running these idles too lean. Okay, everybody's trying to get close to 1.5 turns. Yeah, 1.5 turns right here, so that you get your best gas mileage. The problem with that, it's already running too lean, so you're going to introduce a stumble at the beginning, or maybe in the transitional of the idle to the mains, which are these two right here, this and this. So he says that you should be running at about 1 turn right here, from lightly seated when you open it to 1 turn. That's where you should be at, more or less. You should be between 1/2 turn to 1 turn. That's what he's saying. Now Weber and CB Performance, it's similar information. It is 1/2 turn to 1.5 turns. But anything above a full turn is too lean, according to Jimmy. Okay, so I'm doing what Jimmy says. So I'm going to go 1 turn, which I already got, because I actually upgraded these to 60s. Non-drill, they're original. Okay, they're 60s. Put the 60s on, and wouldn't you know it, drivability got better. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug these on my car because it's still on there. I have to tear everything apart so I can get these out and unplug them. This one's already unplugged, but okay, so I'm gonna undo that, and it should function a little bit better. Okay, so anyways, yeah, too lean. You get that bog at the center transitional between 2200 to 2500. Now there's another information right there that I did not know. I thought the transitional thing happened at 25 to 2800 RPMs. or higher. Okay, that's what I thought. I didn't know that these things only work to 2200 RPMs and they start falling off to 2300 RPMs. They're basically not doing anything above that. And so the mains kick in at around 2200 RPMs and are fully engaged at 2500 RPMs. This changes the whole animal on how to jet these, okay? Hopefully this will help you out with your gremlins, because you can get them to run, pretty good. But once you have the knowledge, no more than one turn, and I would say not half a turn, but try to stay above half a turn, but closer to one turn. So go off half a size. When I say half a size, so if you're running 55s, you would run I guess a 57 and see what that does. In my case, because I was running the 52, because I had these out at 1 3/4 turns, it was giving me great gas mileage, okay? But I had that minor stumble at the beginning. Like, like you're shifting gears, whoop, whoop, and you get that little, and you're thinking, I think it's my clutch. I'm not good with my clutch or something. You're blaming the clutch, and it's not actually the clutch. Because when we did this experiment with the other idle jets, I went to 55s, that magically disappeared. And when we plugged this one also, it magically disappeared. So, okay, it's not my clutch. It was actually, we're running too lean. So the 60s, I have no stumble whatsoever. But I still have to unplug this guy because I'm starving my jets, my jets, these jets, the pump jets. I'm starving them. So my engine is basically starving of fuel. Yeah, anyways. The main problem that, this also causes is starting problems, because you only get one full squirt when you do this, and usually I like in my car, I always do 3, 1, 2, 3, right? And I wasn't able to start, especially in cold weather, like 50. Oh my God, I couldn't get it started. I did like 20 cranks before it finally started. And once it started, it started. But anyways. So it won't start because it begins to starve from fuel. So your first one, you got a good squirt. The second one is partial squirt because now this thing is starving. The third one is probably getting even less because it takes a while to fill up with this little tiny jet that is 10. Let's see. Yeah, that tiny little hole has to fill up this thing. So it's going to take a while for that thing to fill up again. Okay, so that's the problem. That's why I was having hard starting problems. It's because of this. So, so we're going to go ahead and do this. And I'm going to reverse everything. I already have my 60s. I have a feeling that I'm going to have to drop my mains to get my fuel mileage back because I'm operating in 2,800 RPMs. Because I have a freeway flyer. And anyways, but 2,800 RPMs, that's where, my mains are fully engaged right there. So I need to drop my mains even lower to get my gas mileage back. Because the idles are just working really, really low, which is, if you think about it, even in the street, most of the time, you're going to be running on your mains. Yeah, your mains. It's not like a regular carburetor. All right, so we're going to go reverse that. And that's pretty much it. That was the whole experiment. I hope you guys learned a lot. I know I did. And I'll put the link for Jimmy down there so you guys can go read it. It's very, very informative. A lot more information that I could get from the Samba. So hopefully you guys will like it. Anyways, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers and current subscribers for sticking around. We just broke 2,000, which it's a big deal to me because I do this really like part-time. Like, I'm not like full on doing this all the time, but I wish, if I get a lot of subscribers, eventually the income is actually able to sustain the channel, then we can do a lot of this stuff, a lot of parts, a lot of projects. But till then, we're just going to be doing little things that a lot of people want to do and and don't have the time to do it. And I'll be your guinea pig. Like today, I was the guinea pig. And we'll just play with these. That way we get to know these a little bit better so we can manipulate them and actually make them do what you want them to do. There you go. Happy Halloween, and we'll see you later. Adios, muchachos. Adios, muchachas. Oh, and before I forget, almost forgot. The NCAST, the video. I will find those darn Type 1 endcast so we can, what do you call it, port them. So you know how I do the slingshot porting. So yeah, I will find them. I don't know where they are, but I'm going to keep looking. Okay, now I'm going away for sure.